Uh, Whoa, come on. It's Monday, baby. I'm pumped. Let's go. All right, guys. So, a couple of things why it's important to know your industry types. Number one, you get to speak their language. You speak their language. Business owners like to speak to people that can relate and understand what they're going through. Now, I'm not telling you to be a master at what they do, but just understanding the way the mechanics and the dynamics work help you tremendously lay out the enrollment. The other thing, too, is going to help you identify the owner's biggest pain points, getting the employees all together all at once, right? That's a pain point for them. They're trying to manage a business and grow a team, right? Build their business. If we know ahead of time that this is a particular trend with a particular industry type, we can then make sure that our enrollment proposition makes sense to what their pain point could be. It also helps you choose the right benefits to emphasize. John, right now, you currently don't have anything to supplement your employees in case they were to have an accident here at work. One of the things that we really wanted to get into right now is our Accident Protector Max with co-pays and deductibles being higher than ever before. Most employees, very much like the ones you have now, don't have these thousands of dollars sitting in their bank in case of an unexpected accident that happens on and off work. Wouldn't you agree? And if they do, it's in their savings account, which I'm sure you would agree that's not something they want to use that for, is in case of an accident like this, right? So what I'm showing you here is so now I can emphasize our Accident Protector Max. I can emphasize it's an industry that is high risk, right? Some of these manufacturing companies, there's been deaths at the workplace, right? Somebody get caught in the machine, somebody lose a limb, right? Somebody like these truck drivers. I don't know if you guys know, but truck driving is super dangerous, right? So if you're dealing with some of these trucking companies, am I identifying the benefits that could be helpful or highly utilized in that industry? And then, of course, the other thing that I love most about this is that you can identify objections before they happen. If I know that certain industry types operate in a certain manner, I can then handle those objections. And we talked about this 4 to 8 weeks ago. We talked about handling objections throughout the presentation and not waiting till the end. This is important because 70% of objections are never brought up. They're never brought up. They're usually there and silent. But if I can address them early on, they're going to be you're going to be not you're not going to be dealing with them at the end. Okay. Lastly, you build credibility quick, right? I know you've heard this. Most people work with people that they trust and they like. Trust. When I say credibility, I say trust. Okay. If you know how they speak or how their business works, they're more likely to trust you in helping them do the heavy lifting. Okay. So let's go ahead and dive right in. The key message to all of this, and I want you guys to write this down. The best closers don't give the same presentation to every business. They deliver the right presentation for the industry type that they're presenting to. The best closers don't give the same presentation to every business. They deliver the right presentation for that industry type. Right now, guys, we're talking about industry type alone. This is one category in itself. There's another category called personality types. There's a certain personality. You got Bobby Big Shot. He knows everything, right? There's a certain way that you can address a presentation or provide a presentation to somebody that thinks they know everything, right? There's another one where there's Heloise, hurry up, right? I'll give you guys, there'll be a training actually. The one after this one is I'm going to be training you guys on the different personality types that you got to be looking out for. And here's how you can identify those: asking the questions on how they think. Knowing how they think gives you the strongest advantage. The key to persuasion, and again, most of the time when we give them a clear, concise plan, there's no need for persuasion. But I'm telling you, if you know the people you're talking to, you can deliver it in a way where they can trust and see it all work well. All right. The best closers don't give the same presentation to every business. They deliver the right presentation for the right industry that they're working. All right. So now that you guys got that written down, let's dive right into the first one. We talked about the manufacturing companies. The next one that some people, they're like, what, medical offices, I try to stay away from them. Look, these people need coverage too. Something I want to give you guys on the medical offices is you want to make sure that you're placing these between the hours of 11:45 and 1:15. 11:45 and 1:15. Okay. So if you're building your route today and you see you've got a couple of dentist or some dentist offices, right? So the first one that I got here for medical offices is a doctor's office, right? Because they've got admin people that still they don't make doctor money. They make salaries that aren't doctor money. So they still need coverage, right? The next one is a dentist office, a vet clinic, physical therapy, right? The best time to enroll these medical offices is during lunch and the early part of the day before the patients start coming in. Medical offices are continually brought lunches from other vendors and are accustomed to having meetings during this time. It is also a time where they start to slow down or close. Okay, this is going to create an opportunity for you to bring lunch and meet with all the staff without interruption. something that I can give you when it comes to lunch and learns, guys. When I close businesses that typically that like a lunch and learn, or if I'm going to try to bring their guys lunch, I use food as a part of my close. What do I mean by that? Now, John, all I'm asking is for those employees that want to protect their families is that you allow them to do so through payroll deduction. That way you and the employee can save on those valuable tax dollars. Now, I know we did mention you guys got lunch at 12 o'clock every day. Do you guys prefer pizza or would you much rather have sub sandwiches? Which one of those would work best for the guys? I'm going to close them on food first, right? And here's why. When I close them on food, guess what they're going to say? Oh, they are going to eat anything, right? They eat anything, right? If they tell me, hey, they eat anything, boom. Okay, great, John. That's amazing. I'll make sure to bring in the sandwiches. Shoot, we can even bring pizza, whichever one they'd like. And then what I'll do is I've got some time available this coming Thursday at 12, or we can do the following Tuesday at 12 o'clock. Which one of those 2 days is going to work best for you guys? So now I've closed them on the food. Now we're then moving into the enrollment date, and now we're closing there. And then we may have to handle some objections, and that's okay. But if we did our part and handled the objections during the presentation, you shouldn't have a whole lot of pushback during this time. All right. So typically I close them on food first, and then I move into closing them on the enrollment date second. Okay. Food first, enrollment date second. Let's talk about auto shops. Auto shops, my man. These are they're hit and miss with some of these, right? And the reason being that's why they've got a 1 year rule. Guys, write that down. Auto shops have a 1 year rule. They've got to be employed for one whole year. There's a reason for that. Typically, auto shops, particularly the ones with maybe 2 to maybe 3 bays, they've got a lot of turnover. If you got some of these larger, dealerships with like 12 bays or 24 bays on there, looking like a Buc-ee's, we can definitely work with those. Those have been in business for quite some time. They got a lot of great retention, great benefits, great structures in place. But auto shops, they sometimes have some high turnover, and we want to just make sure that we protect you guys. That's why we put the 1 year mark in there. A couple of auto shops is the auto body shops, right? Collision repair, these oil change, those quick lubes. Some of these got enough employees they have, and then of course tire shops. Something to keep in mind with these industry types is that most of these they're more, these are busy first thing in the morning and at the end of the day. And here's why, because the customer is dropping their car off in the morning and picking it up towards the end of the day. So the best time to really get in front of these or set up the enrollment is during the mid morning. So right around that 10:30, 11:45, or mid-afternoon, right? That 1:15, 2 o'clock time, or even lunchtime, right in the middle of the day. Okay. Guys, this stuff to you guys is probably, some of you are like, man, I already knew this. Well, listen, I'm glad you do know it, but I've got people on the team that don't. So for those of you that know it, fantastic. For those of you that are finding this out for the first time, let's go, baby. Now you got to be able to make sure that when you're getting those times, so when you got your appointment this week, make sure you're thinking, okay, what kind of industry type am I going into? What are some additional questions I'm going to ask so that I know how to set up the enrollment? What's, what objections do you think you're going to run into? And then lastly, what dates and times do you have available based on your 4-week forecast that you're going to provide them to set the enrollment, guys? That's one of the biggest things that we find. That's where most people make the biggest mistake. They try to go in and say, what day is going to work best for you guys? You got to give dates and options. You got to give options to get that enrollment date set properly and get them to make a decision. You got to give options. So just remember that. Now, this one's one where it gets fun. For those of you that have been, this is one for those of you that are, again, have been with us for several months, maybe a year. You've already closed the business. It's fairly large, or that's one of the things you're working on right now because you're definitely at that level. Let's give you some more some bigger industry insight. These are cities, right? So for those of you that don't know, we can close cities, baby. We can close cities. We can close counties. We can close boroughs. We can close states, baby. We got the state of Alabama. I don't know if you know this, but we got the state of Alabama, guys. Listen. For somebody to go in here and close the state of Florida, come on now. Huge. Next up, car dealerships, right? These are some of the larger ones. They've got multiple departments, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Hospitals. These are industries with multiple departments. So when you're working with these types of bigger industries, make sure that you have that human resource manager or even the decision maker that's going to get you in contact with each department head. Okay? This is going to ensure that each department is set up to see everyone. This is big, guys. Some people, they're like, man, I don't want to go into a large one because I don't quite know how to set up the enrollment. But if you know that each one of the departments has a department head, all you have to do is run your regular presentation like you will, but just add some additional questions on the benefits fact sheet. Now, Jenny, how many different departments do you have? I'm going to give you guys some questions on this as well, but How many different departments do you guys have in total? Okay, great. How many department heads are at each location? This is just to make sure that, in case when you do qualify or if you qualify, we can make sure to give you guys the best setup possible, right? So the reason why that's important is because it's difficult for the decision maker to make sure everybody's on the same page when it comes time for you to come into these. So you can control this by having the decision maker give you the phone number of each of those department heads, as well as send an introduction email or a phone call letting them know that we're the new benefits coordinator for that account. Okay. That's big. Okay. We're talking 100, 30 or more employees. I mean, larger. Normally, this is where you've got multiple departments. You're talking normally it's 50 to 100. But again, this right here. So first thing I would do is, let's say we decide to close. They love us. Okay, great. I'm going to figure out how many different departments. I've already know that. How many department heads are there? And I'm going to get all their phone numbers. I'm going to do all the heavy lifting, Jenny. Perfect. Okay, great. So Jenny, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach out to every department head. They know the schedule, I'm sure, better than you do. Then what we're going to do is we're going to schedule it directly with the department head so that they know when I'm going to be there. And then from there, we're going to make sure that everybody gets taken care of. Fair enough? Okay. So with all that being said, once you get all of that information, make sure that you get the decision maker to give you a phone number to the department heads and have them send an email or a phone call or a text. Something in writing typically works best, because if you go to that department and you try to say, hey, my name is Bruce with the Cannington Leality Agency, and we're here for you guys' benefits, they're going to be looking at you like, okay, this guy's a con artist, maybe. I don't know. But if you got an email there, they could actually open it up and see that it's real. Okay. If you get the decision maker to personally introduce you to each of the department heads, your chances of seeing more than 60% of the employees is greatly increased. If and when you get the decision maker to personally introduce you, so whether it's a phone call, get them on a three-way call. Hey, listen, Jenny, you mind getting us on a three-way call just so that they know that you're part of the conversation, and get them also involved in it? That'd be much appreciated. This is going to give you an increase of seeing more than 60% of the employees because you got the department heads helping you facilitate the enrollment. A couple of things, like I mentioned earlier, you want to ask during the benefits fact sheet is, how many departments do you have? How many departments do you have? After you figure out how many departments, how many shifts are there? I know typically with like sheriff's departments or even fire departments, these guys have late night shifts. They normally get, the graveyard. Show of hands, how many of you guys enrolled a sheriff's department or a county? There you go, Brian. Let's go, baby. Come on. So this is where you guys understand some of them knowing the shifts is going to be critical to knowing how to, guys, look, these counties, they can close. These cities are closable. What they need is somebody that can give them a solid plan on how to get it done. So before leaving the business, make sure now that you know all of this is set up, you've got the phone call, you got the phone numbers, you got everything you need. Before you leave the city or the county or the hospital or whatever you're doing, make sure that you're leaving the posters in each department building where every employee can see it. They've got to know that you're coming. Okay. Now you're probably wondering, okay, how do I make that happen if, number one, I don't have the posters with me? Well, schedule a time where you're going to be back in that area prospecting, hitting businesses, but also dropping off a few posters with the dates and the times of when you've called the department heads. So after I've called the department heads, we've got it all scheduled. Everything's been coordinated. I'm then going to get that poster, schedule a time, show my face to the department head in person, and get that poster set up so that when I do come in, everybody's ready to see me. Everybody's ready to see me. All right. So biggest takeaway, guys, look, as I mentioned earlier, is just make sure that you know your industry types. Guys, it's super important. Okay. We gave you guys some action items earlier, is make sure that you know what appointments you've got coming up. What industry type are you dealing with? How are you gonna set it up correctly? What additional questions do you need in order for you to set up the enrollment? Number 3, what objections are you gonna have to know that you have down? You never know. The one objection, post-presentation objection, that you don't have down could be the one that prevents you from getting your close. Or it could be the one that helps you get the close. So what objections do you think you're going to face? And how well do you know that objection? And now we know that we have some work to do. Okay. The other thing I would do is make sure that you have times, guys. If you have times, right? Look at your 4-week forecast. Look at the next couple of days that you have for the week. If you want to close it this week and enroll it this week, what dates are you going to be giving them availability for? But again, guys, that's as simple as it gets. But also remember, we talked about this earlier, guys. The best closers don't give the same presentation to every business. Pretty similar, a lot of similarities, but they deliver it in the right fashion based on the industry type. So with all that being said, guys, I want to thank you so much for your time. I know this has brought you a lot of value. Remember, think about their thoughts. Are you sharing just focused on your perspective, or are you really getting an understanding of how they see things? Putting yourself in their shoes. They manage a business, they run it, they've had a level of success for a reason. So now it's the time to ask the questions. Hey, John, just before I get started into this presentation, good news is you do qualify, and we could definitely see how we can benefit you guys. But I just had a question. How important is employee retention to the growth of your business over the last 30 years? How important is that to you? How important has it been to you? Boom, let them start talking, right? Oh man, that's amazing. You know what's great is a lot of businesses that have been around for just as long as you have said the exact same thing. That's great to hear, man. Now, based on your current benefit package, what would you rate your benefit package from 1 to 10? 10 being the best, 1 not being so great. Okay, great. Well, let me ask you this. What are some things that currently have been going well, and what are some things that are not going so well? Again, I just want to make sure that I know how to best serve you guys. But if I can help you, I'll definitely be able to point you in the direction that's best, right? So here I'm selling the exit in that case. We could talk a little bit more about that on the advanced side, but I just ask the questions, get their perspective, know how you can approach the conversation, and then address it based on the industry type to close it down. Close it down, baby. We're at best. We are. Brian, let me ask you this. I'm going to be doing a presentation now that I've got all the agencies on here. I'm going to be doing a presentation contest going on here in Florida. I know we're going to be doing a $250 presentation contest. Whoever leads the way in presentations for the week is going to get $250 cash, baby. All right. Now I don't know. I'm feeling feel strong. We may amp it up and do 400. It's just going to be based on how the activity's going, man. We're just blowing out of the water. Should throw another 150 in there. So, just as a reminder, Brian, I don't know if you want to run this in Georgia, but I'm telling you, presentation contest this week. We're going to be doing $250 cash prize. So be ready to win
Yeah,
some.
I mean, I love that. Give me the details, and is it does the dollars go up based on the number of presentations going up, or how do you decide whether
Dang, let's
250 or
go. We
400
did
or
this.
like?
Oh, man. I'll tell you, that's a great question. We'll be just keep an eye out for the group me's, guys. We're going to be letting your managers know a little bit more details on how this is going to go. And
But
we'll
it's
make sure.
this Monday through Friday, the one we're in today, this
Yes,
week.
this week. This week.
Okay,
This
all
week,
right.
guys. Let's get some presentation money, y'all.
I
That's
like
all I
it.
got for you guys. Y'all have a great rest of your week. Brian, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Love
thank you
y'all.
guys. Love y'all.
See you guys.